the Royals Rundown, powered by Royals Report.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Royals Rundown podcast, powered by Royals Report on the Nordcast Network. I am your host here, Nordic 97, otherwise known as Royals Report, here to talk to you about the Royals and their past weekend against the Maine Mariners. So it was a weekend that certainly could have been better. The Royals took 3 of 6 points, but they lost 2 of 3 against another divisional opponent here in the Maine Mariners, who are below them in the standings. So it's not ideal, but it could have been a lot worse. You could have gotten absolutely no points out of this weekend. At least you were able to rally back and get yourselves back here into the win column to end off the weekend. So let's go through game by game here, starting off on Friday, where the Royals were on tattoo and emo nights on that Friday game against the Mariners. It was a 4-3 overtime loss. And again, in this game, things showed this team was missing a lot of players. A lot of injuries going on with this team currently, and it resulted in Chris McCarthy, who has not played hockey in nearly 5 years, to come into the lineup and play for the Reading Royals in this game. We'll get into him more in depth here in just a moment, but in that opening period, Carson Golder scores the first goal, assisted by Nolan Burke and Keith Petruzzelli, giving the Royals a 1-0 lead very early into the opening period, a minute 27 in. So there you go. The Royals have a 1-0 lead. Carson Golder, 13th goal of the season, assisted by Burke. And then Petruzzelli got a secondary assist there. That's his 3rd assist of the season, if I'm correct. Second assist, second or third, if I am exactly accurate there. Not long after, Jacob Peralt, first-round pick, assisted by Max Andreev and Antonio Venuto, made it a 1-1 hockey game about 6 minutes later. So, again, there you go. You're tied up at 1. The Royals did not take that long to answer right back. Artem Kulikov at the point, assisted by Nolan Burke. 59 seconds later, made it a 2-1 game for the Royals. And then 15:06 remaining in that first period, Cam Cook, assisted by Chris McCarthy, a between-the-legs pass in front, made it a 3-1 hockey game. And it's nuts, too, because McCarthy had the assist in this game. It was his first assist and first point in 2,134 days. Absolutely nuts. So the end of the first period there, the Royals have a 3-1 lead, but they were outshot 17-9. So that shows you just how really lopsided this game was here for the majority of it. And it shows how well Keith Petruzzelli played. In that second period, there were no goals scored. The Mariners were the better team, though, once again. Shots were 13-11. But there were no goals scored, and I thought the Royals were playing well. There were some penalties being called. I think I even said the Royals need to just stay out of the box. And then in the third period, the Royals just could not hold on. Antonio Venuto, his second point of the game from Owen Gallatin and Max Andreev, made it a 3-2 game, 1 goal. And then later on in that third, Robert Cronin from Jackson Bellamy and Brooklyn Kalmakoff made it a tie hockey game. And it's really unfortunate because Keith Petruzzelli, who made 42 saves tonight, or on 46 shots, he played absolutely phenomenal, but the Royals just could not hold on. They could not find a way to hold on to the lead or even add another one for them. And as a result, it comes to overtime. Brooklyn Kalmakoff from Robert Cronin and Tristan Thompson wins the game for the Mariners about a minute and a half in. And the Mariners get the win in overtime in this game. Again, shots were 46-29 overall. It's really unfortunate because I really thought the Royals were better than their shots perceived, but the Mariners were clearly the better team here in this game for sure, and it showed throughout this contest 100%. So the Royals did lose that one 4-3 in overtime. And then you move on to Star Wars night. Star Wars night on Saturday. Royals taking on the Mariners once again. All of the different characters were in the building, but the dark side was in favor of the Maine Mariners in this one. It's Brad Arnaitis who starts in net for the Mariners. Luke Cavallini started in net Friday and Sunday, so we'll get into Sunday in just a moment. But Sebastian Vidmar in the second period from James Maroney made it a 1-0 lead for the Mariners very early into that middle frame. But it's okay because the Royals weren't playing terrible. They were being outshot a lot of the time, but they were still playing better than they were in the last game in terms of offensive opportunities. Shots were closer, but I thought besides that, they played very poor. I thought the defensive game was very poor, a lot of sloppy passes. I also think it was a mix of bad luck in that game as well. They didn't have the luck going their way that maybe they wanted it to, and sometimes that does happen, but that was a prime example here in this game for sure. And then in the third period, Linus Hemstrom from Alexander Lampa made it a 2-0 game for Maine. And that was pretty much all said and done from there. The Mariners win this game 2-0. Brad Arnaitis, a 2-0 shutout win on Star Wars night. Really not a lot to report on in this game, besides the fact that obviously there were two new players on the Royals, of course, that did play. You had the likes of Andrew Kurapov, who has played games for the Royals in the past, but he was returning here with even more injuries coming in the last game. And Zach Bannister also got the nod here as well in that game too. I thought they overall played solid, but didn't get a lot of ice time. And then another injury was suffered with Carson Golder. And yeah, things were just not really looking ideal here for the Royals. Another injury, which meant GM Anthony Peters was going to have to make another move and bring somebody else in. And that guy was Dylan Fox, who also hasn't played in like 6 years, but decided, hey, I'll give it a shot and return to the Royals on this Sunday Winter Olympics game at 3 p.m. $1 kids tickets. That was nice. But the Royals, they did bounce back and they got the win in this one, but it was definitely not easy. That's for sure. So first period, Max Wanner scores from Brooklyn Komikoff and Zach Jordan. And I thought the Royals were playing better in that first period. They just could not find a way to get past the likes of Cavallini. But in that second period, they were able to do so multiple times. Jeremy Michel from Nolan Burke and Zach Bannister. Bannister, his first point as a Royal. I think his 7th point in like 48 games played overall in the ECHL. Michel scores his, I believe, 4th goal of the year. With that goal, he would score again about 3 minutes later, assisted by Jake Willits and Ben Meehan. Meehan played phenomenal tonight. If I'm correct, he had 3 assists, which moves him up towards the top 10 in ECHL scoring, which I think is great. He's been phenomenal here for the Royals this season. And the Royals have a 2-1 lead. There you go. Middle of the second period, the Royals lead 2-1. 2 minutes later, though, Antonio Venuto from Jackson Bellamy and Max Andreev makes it a tie hockey game. If I remember correctly, it was just one of those one-timer passes off the face-off that I really didn't blame Petrozelli for. So it's unfortunate, but there you go. Suddenly, it's a 2-2 hockey game. And then a lot of penalties in that middle frame, as you can probably tell here. And the Royals with Nolan Burke, they got called for the retaliation call. And as a result, they went to a 4-on-3. And Jacob Peralt, assisted by Andreev and Komikoff, made it a 3-2 game for the Mariners at the end of 40 minutes of play. I thought the Royals could have done a better job at moving the Mariners players around, not giving them a lot of time, especially during that 4-on-3. I thought they could have been a lot better from that perspective for sure. But it wasn't terrible, I guess. Like, it was a good period. They were outshot 14-9. That next period, though, and that following period, they would only give the Mariners 7 more shots throughout the game, which I thought was nuts. In that third period, it took them a while. They were trying to get as many chances as they could, but from the point Connor McMenamin with the goaltender pulled, about 2.5 minutes there, as you can tell, made it a 3-3 hockey game, assisted by Hunter Johannes and Ben Meehan, making it a tie game. And then heading to overtime for the second time this weekend, Brandon Sajan from Alec Butcher playing in his 400th career game, and Ben Meehan makes it a 4-3 overtime win for the Royals. And they end up coming out of this weekend with 3 of a possible 6 points. But here's the issue. They gave the Mariners 5 of a possible 6 points. Now, the Mariners are a team that is below you right now in the ECHL standings. I'll pull them up here in just a moment to show off to you guys. But that's a division right now that is very, very close and very, very competitive. And here's the issue with the Royals. It's not their fault that they're in this position, but of all the teams in this division, they've played the most games. So that's the issue here underlying with the Royals, is that they've played more games than everybody else. And the teams that are below them, like Maine, like Worcester, they have a chance here to essentially just get past the Royals because they have so many games in hand. Now, for the Royals, it's obviously unideal. But the thing is, though, is that those teams have to win those games to advance. But being where the Royals are right now, only getting 38 points out of a possible 34, and finding yourselves third in the division, and teams that are down below you are going to have to come up and obviously win some more games, and they can pass you. It's not ideal. It really is not ideal. But they're still in a good position here regardless. You look ahead to Wednesday's game. They play the Worcester Railers. That should be a good game. The Royals could use another really key 2 points against Worcester. The Railers definitely have had their struggles here for sure this season. But overall, you just hope for the best heading into that game. And, I mean, overall, they've handled the Railers pretty sound and pretty well here so far this season. So again, you just kind of hope that they're able to come into that and do the same thing, trying to pull up the Whalers last week here. So Worcester this past weekend played in Florida against the Everblades, and it was not a great weekend for them. Trying to pull it up here really quick. Sorry about this, guys. Should be more prepared. But Worcester against the against the Everblades at home, so it wasn't on the road, at home. They lose 2 of 3 to the Everblades. You know what really is annoying, and I know you guys will probably agree with me. What's really frustrating about how the Royals and their overall schedule is, we only really play one team out of our division, and that's the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Meanwhile, I'm seeing every other team play like Idaho, Indy. They play Florida at home. We really don't play anybody, and that's a little bit frustrating for me. I guess it is what it is. Like, I mean, what are we going to do about it? But it's a little bit annoying that we only see like a couple other teams outside of our division. But anyway, looking ahead to that game against Worcester, you got to get the 2 points. And again, I know it's really hard right now because this team is just so absolutely depleted right now when it comes to injuries. But as Anthony Peters said, this is the hand you've been dealt, and you got to play that hand and play the way you know you can play. That's it for this Royals Rundown. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. Sorry that I did record one earlier in the year with the Admiral series. I've been under the weather a little bit here and really not feeling very well. I'm starting to bounce back from it a little bit, but my throat's been hurting the last couple of weeks. It's been hard to talk. It's been hard to swallow and eat food and stuff, and I've had a cough and a runny nose, but I'm on the tail end of it now. I'm feeling a lot better, so now we're back here with Royals Rundown content. But thank you all for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. Subscribe to the Nordcast Network, and of course, follow Royals Report on Facebook and Instagram. But anyways, that is it for me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next stream. Let's go Royals.